So what would you rather prefer, games in hand or points on the board? Arsenal had some games in hand, Shaka, but they've now lost at home to Brighton and lost at Southampton, and they've been overtaken by Manchester United in this race for fourth. What happened to the Gunners at St Mary's today?
Listen, to initial question, you always prefer to have the points on the board, and you're seeing exactly why we're with Arsenal now. Now, my concern around Arsenal was that they maybe didn't have the resolve for this top four fight. You saw them lose at home to Brighton last week, a very good Brighton side, as they continue to show. A couple of weeks before that, you saw them go to Selhurst Park and lose to Crystal Palace. I thought that game in particular showed Arsenal's frailties. A young squad in a very tight ground. And now, do not discount how much more difficult it is going to some of those old stadiums where the fans are right on top of you. It's an experience unlike what you get in modern stadiums. And I think that told. And now what you're seeing from this Arsenal, where a few weeks ago we were praising some of their fights. Remember the discussion we had around them beating Wolves 1-0 after going down to 10 men, and then the result against Aston Villa, where I thought they showed a level of fight that we haven't been able to see from Arsenal for a few years. This is not just about Arteta or this squad. We hadn't seen that fight for a few years. Now, all of a sudden, things aren't going their way, and this squad hasn't been able to cope in a way that maybe they showed a few weeks ago. In this game against Southampton, Fraser Forster makes an incredible save from Bukayo Saka. Had that gone in, you could see Arsenal winning 3 or 4-0 quite comfortably. A week ago, we were discussing Martinelli and his disallowed goal right before halftime. When things go their way, this is a very good Arsenal team. When things don't, when they need to dig in, when they need to show a little bit of resolve, that's where I'm questioning them now. Which is why I say, had that goal gone in from the Fraser Forster save, maybe we'd be having a different discussion. But it doesn't. And now all of a sudden, that lifts Southampton. That forces Arsenal heads to drop. And from there, I don't think Arsenal were that good. I thought Southampton were deserving of the 3 points. Now, mind you, Fraser Forster went on to make another very good save later on. But that aside, I can't really make much of an argument as to why Arsenal deserve 3 points, or maybe even deserved a point from this.
Yeah, I want to get to Southampton and to Fraser Forster in just a minute, but I want to wrap up this little bit about Arsenal by asking the question, when Alex Lacazette isn't there, there's no strength and depth. Nketiah is not an able replacement. Clearly, we saw that today. And they're threadbare in attack. Does that show the importance of Lacazette, who might not be scoring loads of goals every week, but as a link player, he really helps the three in behind him get on the score sheet or be creative? They had very little of that without Lacazette today.
Well, without question, I think Lacazette is very important to them and how they play their football and the focus of their attacks. It doesn't translate into goals and just pure numbers for Lacazette, but he is important. And Arsenal's squad is not that deep. And of course, the kind of easy excuse would be, well, what if you had Aubameyang? When he was there, Arsenal were even worse. So let's not. Aubameyang has moved on and he's doing great for Barcelona. Fine, but when he was with Arsenal, it was even worse for the Gunners. So that's just an easy out or a cheap excuse. And I'm not going down that alley at all. But it's a small squad, it's a thin squad, and especially in that department. Arteta has work to do because a lot of those players are out of contract. How do you cope? What happens? We have to see where they finish at the end of the season and where that leaves Arsenal in terms of their own power to recruit. But as of right now, the boost just the recruitment boost that comes to finishing top 4, never mind just Champions League and the money that brings in, just the kind of player that you're able to attract is slipping through their own fingers. Because as you looked at Arsenal's run-in, you felt that you would have to get results against Brighton at home, Southampton away, just to have that buffer with what's to come. And now you've picked up no points from those two. That buffer is gone. That running is even more difficult. Well, looks even more difficult given the performances. I didn't think we'd be having this discussion about Arsenal 3 weeks ago, but here we are in a top 4 race that's wide open. Nobody seems to want to really take hold of it.
Okay, Southampton. Who wins the award for the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the Premier League in recent weeks? Is it Chelsea, losing 4-1 at home to Brentford and then winning 6-0 at Southampton? Or Southampton losing 6-0 at home to Chelsea and then beating Arsenal by 1-0?
Listen, well, if it's down to those two, it'd have to be Chelsea, because let's be honest, we've seen this from Southampton time and time again.
True.
This isn't uncommon ground for Southampton. and their fans know that. They know they can get embarrassed. I mean, we talked about 9-0 just a couple of seasons ago, and just bounce right back as though nothing ever happened. So just in terms of this season, it has to go down to Chelsea. But I put that Chelsea-Brentford result down to well, I want to say a one-off, but it wasn't much better against Real Madrid. And you saw the team respond. And I think normal service will be or has been resumed at Stamford Bridge. Of course, we'll have to see about that in the coming days. But I think that's normal service back to resume, back in play for Chelsea. And Southampton fans may want to tell you, well, this is normal service for us as well. So a bit of a dead heat in that regard.
Let's end with Fraser Forster, because he had a spell on loan at Celtic and he was absolutely outstanding and they wanted to keep him. They didn't. They let go of Craig Gordon. They brought in Joe Hart and they've done all right since, but they haven't replaced truly Fraser Forster, who's only playing because Alex McCarthy was hurt. Now, McCarthy's back in full training, but it's weird when you talk about the 6-0 game that Southampton lost. Fraser Forster had 3 brilliant saves in that. And in this one, he had some fantastic saves. Why is he able to produce such good performances? And how difficult is it when you're as tall as Fraser Forster is to be as nimble and as good as he is one-on-one?
Listen, make no mistake about it. Fraser Forster is a very talented goalkeeper. Yeah. That's there for everybody to see. But he's had dips in form, and when that happens, it shows up, and then there are a lot of questions, especially given his height and his physicality. Well, could he do this better? Could he do that better? And he found himself out to the team. But I remain a fan because I think he affords a presence within the goal, and because of that same physicality, he fills the goal out in a way that not many goalkeepers do. And the form that he's in right now, I don't think he can be dropped. He's got to keep his place. That may change. Again, just kind of given the frailties of being a goalkeeper, which I understand only too well myself. But you deal with that when it comes. As of right now, you enjoy the form that you're in. You kind of relish the saves that you've made. You accept the praise when it comes because you know how quickly it turns. And as you say, Mark, given today's result, given those 2 saves and the importance of them, and how good of a save of both were, especially that first one, you enjoy that, and you have a good Saturday evening, and then you worry about what's to come in the next 48 or 72 hours.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.